engaged in writing about poetry. Earlier, they wrote poetry, but not about poetry. Now, these very poets are writing about poetry. What is poetry and what is good or bad in it? So, this practical criticism, so to say, began on a large scale in the Victorian age. And the first in this context is John Stuart Mill. He wrote 3-4 essays. First was, what is poetry? So he defines there what poetry is. Second is, two kinds of poetry, that it is not just one kind. There are different kinds, depending upon what you are writing about, depending upon in what mode or style you are writing about. And then the third one Mill wrote was Thoughts on Poetry and its Varieties. So from one poetry to two kinds of poetry to varieties of poetry. So that is how he expanded the critical view of poetry and made his readers aware of how critically you can look into a poem and find points of appreciation and points of depreciation also, faults. So both virtues and faults you have to look for in any given poem. It became the format for practical criticism. These essays Mill had written 1833. Formally 1837 is the year when we say the Victorian age began, because Queen Victoria got onto the throne that year, and she had the longest period right up to 1903. So imagine 1837 to 1903, such a long period. The Queen of England. Here comes John Stuart Mill just a few years before that, but then he lived a long life. So how does he define poet? He says, whom shall we call poet? His definition is, those who are so constituted that emotions are the links of association by which their ideas, both sensuous and spiritual, are connected together. So that is the definition of the poet. Here is an ability of the mind which is not available to everybody. Only the poets have it, he says. And what is that ability? That through emotions you are able to assimilate ideas and assimilate them into making it a complete whole. So all put together, maintaining their separate identity also, but